Uh, on
Welcome to the second monthly installment. I don't know what the fuck this is. Simply Stogies After Dark. I'm your host, James. We are live on Facebook and on the YouTubes. Let me know if you can't hear us, if it sounds terrible. I can't do anything about my co-host's face, however, and I do have two of them this time. Let me welcome back to the show Tim Allen, host of Clear the Air. An all-around swell guy, kind of a dick, but you don't know him. It's fine. So I'm just going to tell you he's a swell guy. Tim, welcome back to After Dark, and also fuck off.
Hey, James, thanks for having me back, and piss off yourself.
Excellent. We have started off perfect. But we do have a great surprise for everybody. The only reason anybody listens to this show is on tonight, and it's Nicholas Saris.
Yeah, right.
And the owner, blender, master blender, talent behind LH Premium Cigars. Don't fucking shake it. Why do you shake your head like that? I don't understand.
Because you like to press my buttons.
Well, pressing your buttons is actually it's less blue than pressing Tim's button, because Tim, I have to tell him to fuck off. You, I just like master blender. Like I prop you up and you're just like, son of a bitch. I teared Tim down and he's like, you son of a bitch.
Tim, are you in Afghanistan or something? or in a tent somewhere?
Yeah. I'm in
Serengeti. I don't know. What is
I'm
that?
in
That's
a really
cool
nice
background.
Ice fishing tent that I got from James. It's starting
That's
to get
what
cold here. And,
wait, is that really an ice fishing tent?
That's really a nice fishing tent.
Yeah, it's an ice fishing tent.
And is it inside your garage, or?
It is, yeah. And I don't even need to have a heater because all the lights and electronics I have in here are providing enough heat. So
that's pretty cool.
It's all the hot air.
Yeah, well, yeah. Thanks, Lou.
That's pretty cool.
Speaking of Lou Cross, a good friend of mine, good friend of Tim's, friend of the show, and all-around good guy, and also a supporter, LE Club supporter. Lou Cross is joining us tonight, all the way live from wherever the hell he's at in Florida. Lou, welcome back to Simply Stogies After Dark.
Hey, thanks, guys. Glad to be here.
No, we're glad to have you. Look, if you're just tuning in for the first time, let me give you just a quick rundown before I light my cigar, and we'll go around the horn and figure out what everybody else is smoking and go from there. Kind of what the deal with this show is. So this show is for our supporters. If you'd like to become a supporter and support a small podcast, go to simplystogies.com. Click at the top right under LE Club. You can register to become a member, support a small podcast, $10 a month, $100 a year. That's right. That's a savings of $20 for those of you who can't math. $10 a month, $100 a year, and then you can join us live like Lou does every first Friday of the first of the month. Not the first month, but every month, and just the first Friday of the month. Words are hard. I'll start off with what I'm going to smoke, and we'll go from there, and I'll light it while everybody else is talking, but I'm going to throw it to Tim because I know he's smoking. I'm smoking the Castagli the Brav. I talked to Jeremy Castagli today, and in his English accent, his proper British accent, it's the Brov. So I'm smoking the Brov. Tim, what are you smoking?
I am smoking a Meldias. I think it's it's a 2022. That's going to be the first cigar of the night. I've had these for a year, so decent cigar. I do like it, and it's been freaking hectic, guys. Trying to get a bunch of things figured out with this live stream and work, and then God damn it, I had to buy a new car because my Jeep died on me. So yeah, I'm not too I'm glad I got a new car, but I'm not happy about making a payment. James had to hear about it. I think
What'd you get,
yesterday.
man?
Yeah,
You
got
didn't
all of
mention
your
any
food.
benefits.
yeah,
You
22 Jeep Cherokee, fully loaded, man. I spoiled myself. But I of course I went in, paid, just throw it on my credit card with today's interest rates. You'll have that.
That's how you should do it. That way your $30,000 car turns into like a $90,000 car.
Right, exactly. If you can't afford the $90,000 car, here's a $30,000 car.
Why are you smoking cigars if you can't afford $100,000 car? Why are you smoking?
Right, exactly. Yep. Well, and I'm going to go visit my insurance agent and make sure that I can light that on fire and I'm fully covered. So we should.
I would not recommend lighting your insurance agent on fire. Nick, I know you're not smoking.
Thank you for reminding me. Watching you guys not smoking, I'm not happy about it.
I know you're not. I know, but I do appreciate you jumping on.
I tried to leave too.
Did you really?
I did. I was like, I had my stuff and I started going. She goes, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to the club. I told you I have a podcast thing." She goes, "You said you were going to do it from home." I go, "Oh yeah, I did, didn't I?"
Did I say that? I don't remember. I thought I said I was leaving.
So she was not allowing me to leave.
Well, damn it.
Well, look, Nick, happy wife, happy life, right? So,
yeah. I mean, I'm out 6 days a week. So one night that I have to stay here, I guess I can deal with it. And she has cause. I mean, she normally lets me do whatever I want. So,
well, you have a really good reason why you're not there, right? Like,
yes, I do.
So,
yes,
I get it, and I appreciate you taking the time to jump on because I told you don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, I figured I'd come on.
No, I appreciate that. I do.
I know.
Really do.
I know Tim. Would miss me if I didn't.
Oh, 100%. Tim, you are his emotional support person. That's what you are.
Right.
Let's not even get into that. No.
Tim's just like, all James does is beat on me. That's all he does. Let's throw it to Mr. Lou Cross. Lou, what are you smoking tonight, my friend?
Lost Cal 2022. So not this year, but last year's baby blue model. Smoking pretty well, actually.
I really like the 2022 Las Calaveras. I don't think a lot of folks gave it enough respect. I really don't. I feel like that was a really good year. I mean, it wasn't. I don't think it was the best year they've ever had, but I thought it was a really good year.
It's good. I like this year's better.
I like the 23 better. 100%. 100%. So there you go. That's what we're all smoking. Look, again, you want to join us, you can. If you're an LE Club member, you can join us via the link that was sent in your email, or if you're on the Discord, you can just click the link there, and you can jump on, join us, talk about whatever. If you are wondering what we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to start off with a little PCA action. Premium Cigar Association, the Premium Cigar Association, earlier this month, I guess last month, as the case may be. They came out and they said that us media folks, us media types, are no longer going to be required to pay dues in order to have access to the trade show. And I kind of want to see what everyone's opinion is. Now, we talked a little bit about this on an episode of Clear the Air that's not out yet. And then Tim said, everybody shut up about it because we're going to talk about it on the live show. Right. Yeah. But I kind of want everyone's opinions. And Nick, you are the longest. You've been a member of the PCA the longest out of anybody here. So I kind of want your opinion because you've seen the PCA go from what I would consider fairly antagonistic to media, or as Coop likes to call them, those damn bloggers.
I called him a blogger the other day just to piss him off too.
And so now it is they've really done a 180, and like we don't have to pay the $400. Now I don't know if we still have to pay for badges. I don't know. I've seen zero communication from them since just the announcement.
I think a lot of the reason for this change is because, you know, the media complained and voiced their opinion about many people that were, you know, the basic line is, hey, you know, I'll just have Gurkha get me a badge too and get on the floor and not pay and go do all my interviews and get early access and do this and do that. And the PCA responded by, you know, I'm surprised that they responded like, if the money was going to a good cause, I mean, it wasn't going to break the bank in the sense that there's so many other expenses. But it was a nice gesture that they were actually not, because they feel a little bit embarrassed because they realized it literally is impossible to police it. And they wanted us to self-police other media, so-called people there that don't have the proper credentials. I think it's not for us to self-police. I don't think it's really for the PCA. If you know, I don't know, like the manufacturers, if they don't care who they're talking to, they're willing to talk to anybody with a microphone or anybody that says they're media because they want to get the exposure. It is what it is. I think it's a nice gesture for the PCA. I think they realize that as far as media is concerned, this is really it. How do they get any play to the people? And there's enough people, and I think they're realizing it. You know, social media is here to stay, and this is a good thing. So,
No,
kudos to PCA.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Excuse me. And I had said many times on this show or some iteration of this show, Tim, that we've been doing for the last 4 years, almost 5 years now, is that I could never understand why the PCA was charging media a fee to go to the trade show, because it's free advertising, not only for them, but for every manufacturer that's there. Now, I understand, you know, when we had Coupon, that some of those damn bloggers were basically playing trick or treat and threatening some of the manufacturers. Hey, you're not giving me a free cigar, I'm going to give you a shit review. I need that free cigar.
I don't know about that. I don't know anybody that's going to fall to that pressure.
Right. But why charge it? So I'm glad to see it go. I'm glad to see it go away. Now they didn't really, people like Coop was talking about, and you can go read it on cigarcoop.com. But he put out a nice long blog. I'll call it a blog, but it was a post about this, and basically what he says is a lot of the things that I'm saying here, but that you know, media kind of got shafted for the longest time because of how some of these people treated manufacturers and used it as their own personal trick or treat or whatever. And Tim, when you heard the news, like, what was your initial thought?
I was actually really shocked that they cut the dues. I would say maybe half would be good. Like, just to take it completely out altogether doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So, hey, great, it's free, but you express concerns back to me because you're like, okay, now anybody can be media. You know, that door was not open to everybody because
no, you still have to. No, there is some caveats. You still have to actually supply your so-called resume, whether it be videos, your website. So there is a verification or a vetting period for the PCA. You just can't go sign up and say, I'm media, let me in. So it's
I disagree,
not going to be
Nick.
quite as easy.
I'm going to disagree with you because there was a trade show, an alcoholic trade show.
Right.
The bar rescue guy, I can't remember what his name is, but he had a trade show. And basically what I did is I created a fake website. I put all the people on it. I did everything I needed to do to say, hey, I'm a technology company, and my goal is to do research because we're creating a POS system or POS for the bar industry. I gave them my money. They let me right in. So if you're smart enough and you know what you're doing, you can get in. And I'm not condoning that.
No. Nick's right. The issue that I have is that it's the same bar. It's the same low bar of entry that it was before. So, for example, when you signed up as a what do they call it? Industry partner, okay? Because I'm the one who signs us up for it, right? So when you go to their website and you intend to join the PCA, and you fill out the application process, and you do it as an industry insider or industry partner, what they say is that you will be required that anybody who has a badge under your name, they have to have at least written one review of a cigar in the last 12 months, appeared on a podcast or a blog post or something. It is a very low bar of entry, right?
Sure.
And I have never had to produce anything to them other than here's the link to the website. The website has everything. And Tim, have they ever contacted you to say, hey, like, because in all fairness, you hadn't written a post. You've been my tech guy for the past 3 years.
Right. And you can argue that too.
You did not meet, and I'm just being completely transparent. And if the PCA sees this, like, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You were the tech guy. You were part of the podcast on the back end. You'd never written a review up until earlier this year. You had appeared on one podcast, which was like episode 3, if I remember right.
I think so.
Then he met the criteria, right?
No, he had, but it was one podcast in 20.
And I was a guest.
He was a guest.
Yeah.
What, 2018? 2019?
Yeah.
Or 2019, because
Yeah.
that's when we started. So you were on episode 3, 2019. And so there was no trade show in 2020. And in 2021, the first year we went, you hadn't been on a podcast. You hadn't. We were doing cigars and coffee, I think, maybe.
I don't remember.
So maybe that's how you got in. I don't know. Everybody else who's gone on our badge has either been a host on the show, Nick, or has written for us, right? So I don't know how much they actually police it to begin with. So I couldn't understand why they were charging us for free advertising for the manufacturers, free advertising for the PCA, and then trying to hold people to this. And what pissed me off about them holding us or attempting to hold us to this very low bar to be media, was that you had guys from, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. Like, whatever you do content wise is what you want to do. And like, kudos to you. And a lot of you do it at a higher level than I could do it. But a social media, media guy, right?
Hello.
Hey, oh look, it's Randy.
Hello?
Randy's here. Randy, welcome to the show. Your
Just
camera's
butt
off.
right in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's Randy.
I'm AAA. I'm AAA, so I'm driving. I don't have a camera because I'm driving, and it's a Zoom, and Zoom doesn't let you use your camera while you're driving because they're assholes.
Are you smoking something, Randy? Or
Yeah.
what do you smoke? What is it, Dick?
Well, I'm in my truck, so I'm smoking a truck cigar, so it's an underground.
And it's a truckador cigar.
I have been enjoying quite a few of Nick cigars at the lounge lately because they've got them in the discount bin. Sorry, Nick, but it's true. Because they're horrible salespeople and they have shit tasting cigars.
Put that out for everybody.
Yeah,
My cigars suck, and just they're in the
Hold on,
discount bin.
No, I will go. I will
jeez.
drive there and I will clean them out.
Well, no, I've been smoking the shit out of them. And I'm not going to say I've had a weird turn of heart. I've been smoking, I think it's your Colorado, and it's not a Lancero, but it's a really long bastard, kind of thin.
Churchill.
Churchill.
Yep,
Churchill.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's it. I couldn't think of it. I still have changing a tire on my mind. But yeah, I've been smoking the crap out of those lately.
Yeah.
But
I'm
Nick,
glad you're enjoying
do
the
not-
discounted rate.
Well, you didn't get paid a discounted rate, so and
Nick is gonna kill you.
these are the same assholes that gave a lovely cigar. Like, what score, James?
Oh, yeah. Let's not talk about that because it's not out yet. Jesus Christ.
Oh, all right, never mind.
We'll talk about reviews here in just a little bit, but we're talking about the trade show, and like I want to kind of circle back to that. Like, again, if you're doing something on social media and you're a media type and you're doing, like, kudos to you. I'm not, my only beef with those folks were that some of them, not all of them, were going on a manufacturer's badge. And I remember last year at the trade show, we were at the media day, whatever the fuck that was, that press conference. And they told us, they're like, hey, if you're here, you're not part of the problem. You guys are, you're here, you're not part of the problem. But we've been getting reports of some folks who showed up on badges that don't belong to them, and they're causing some problems on the trade show floor. If you see them, say something. I'll never forget sitting there trying to process what was just told to me, and then getting a text from one Randall that said, "This is it. This was the text. This was the full text and full extent of the conversation. Snitches get stitches." That was it.
That needs to be on a t-shirt.
That what snitches get
sure it
stitches?
is.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. So it was something. Like Nick said, I'm not there to police other people. I'm not there to police it for the trade show, for the PCA. That's something that I think they need to figure out. But I think they're off to a good start. I think by getting rid of the dues for media folks, and then if they are policing who these media folks are, and that they do have credentials, and if they are reviewers, bloggers, podcasters, whatever you want to fucking call us, I don't give a shit. You know, because we don't beg for cigars, we don't ask for cigars. If they give cigars, great. If they don't, great. But yeah, I don't know how this is going to work. And look, and there has been no communication from the PCA as to how this is supposed to work. So how do I re-up? Like, I know that I can give them $400 if I have $400 to give them, and they will certainly take that $400. But I don't know how it works as far as, like, I went onto the website the other day. I tried to, like, you know, update the team, because we've had some changes on the team in the last month, and nothing. Like, there's no way for me to do it. So I actually have to try to email somebody over there at the trade show, at the PCA, and figure out, hey, like, how do I update this stuff? Because I can't seem to figure it out, which is just par for the course. So I don't know if anybody else cares about this, about bloggers at the trade show, or media at the trade show. But if you don't, you should, because we're the guys who are bringing you all of the news out of the trade show. So there's Half Wheel. And there's a ton of us, like Half Wheel, Coop, Smoking Tobacco, the Cigar Authority, like whoever else is there. Like, there's a ton of us, and we're always bringing you stuff. So you should care about this. But if you don't, I don't blame you, because it's kind of dry. But anybody else have anything they want to say about this before we move on?
I mean,
Rand,
I like that it's free. I like that it's free, but you get what you pay for. So, I mean, I guess that's what I'm going to say.
I don't know if that's accurate. I really don't. Because we're going to go there, and we're going to do the same thing that we do every year, and we're going to try to do it at the level that we've done up to this point, right? Like, that's
sure.
We're not gonna not do that. So, you know, Coop's gonna come at a high level. You know, Half Wheel's gonna come at a high level. You know, Smoking Tobacco's gonna come at a high level. Everyone come, like Bear and like everybody that's associated with Coop. They're all there, and they're all going to do it at a high level. I think all this is doing is it's trying to raise the bar and trying to get everybody to come in the right way. And I guess it's just a waiting game.
It all depends on the policing of it. I mean, as a consumer, I rely on the people that are in the cigar media that I trust to alert me to things that are going on. I'm not allowed to go to the show because I'm a consumer, so I'm dependent on retailers and the media to promote it. I'm all for it in terms of not having to cost you guys money to go out there and expend your resources to go out there and do it. It's an acknowledgement. I think they're finally acknowledging, and because they weren't doing any kind of policing of it, now at least they legitimize the credential. If they give you press credentials through whatever mechanism that they do, if you don't have it, maybe it'll get rid of the one-off blogger, cigar hacker types that they can't justify their existence. Now, if they go out on the badges from a retailer, that's on the retailer. I mean, they need to. That's on the PCA to police it if they're the ones that don't want it to happen, not you guys.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I've always said that it's on the PCA to make this happen. And I like before it was easy for me to say, look, the minimum bar of entry is, or the dues. You pay the dues, you can come. Like if you're not paying the dues and you're going on somebody else's ticket for the fucking free ride, like that's not equitable.
Is it free dues and you don't know what I thought it was just free admission to the show. I think do you not have to pay even dues anymore?
No, there's no dues. Media doesn't.
So
have to pay
dues. James, are you concerned that every Tom, Dick, and Harry with a $39.99 GoDaddy webpage is going to show up with their?
Are you going
with their Google phone?
Are you going?
No, I don't know if you know this, but
are you kind of a big deal?
I'm associated with some guys that are, largesse, if you will, in the industry. Certain college hops.
Yeah.
But no, what's to keep that from happening? That's going to be a nightmare for the PCA trying to.
I don't think they can police it.
Verify or vet?
No, I don't think they're going to. I don't think they can. I don't think they have the resources.
So every Tom, Dick, and Harry that goes on to Reddit and post a 2-paragraph cigar review can now attend the PCA. So there's your answer, whoever that was before. I'm sorry.
Well, no,
as a consumer, post your review and sign up as media and come on out to the PCA.
Yeah, but that's kind of my question to the PCA about all of this is how are you going to know who's who? Like how are people registering for this? And do I still have to spend $150 on the badges? Because if I have to spend $150 on each badge, and there's 5 badges, and am I still limited to 5? Like, did that change? Can I bring 6? Can I bring 7? Like, how many camera people? Like,
I have a feeling that's not changing.
Probably not. But there's been no communication as far as like, here's the new process. Here's how you get vetted. This is how, like, there's none of that. There hasn't been anything other than, hey, no dues, which is great. But again, we go back to there's not, the PCA is notorious for not having a lot of communication, especially with media, because we're always.
Have you asked the PCA?
I have not. I said before I think you jumped on. No, before you jumped on that I needed to reach out to the PCA. I just haven't yet, but I do have a lot of questions about this, and I don't think that it's completely unfair of me to have an airing of grievances here in the holiday season, since we're in November now, Randy. And so Festivus has started early.
There's an airing of grievances. Okay.
And I wouldn't even call it like grievances. It's just there are a lot of questions that I have about how this is going to work, and with no communication other than, hey, like, none of this anymore, like that. It's kind of it feels half-assed. It feels like, well, let's announce it and we'll figure out the rest later, and we'll let them know when we know. That's kind of how it feels. Maybe that's not the case, but it's kind of how it feels. Also, it
seems like it.
Right. Also, I could just literally bitch about anything. Like, somebody could hand me $1 million and I'd be like, that's great. Why is it not 1.2?
I'm looking at Coop's press release, and it says PCA changes media credential process, including dropping badge fees for media. That's the headline.
So there's no badge fee. So if there's no badge fees, yeah, I guess Randy's right. Any Tom, Dick, or Harry with $39.99 fucking GoDaddy website can
or a review on Reddit.
Throw a review up on Reddit. Shit, I know one guy, Adam. That guy will go down Reddit rabbit holes all the time, and he'll post all kinds of bullshit on there. He can post. Like, is that going to count, or do you have to have? Like, here's the thing. So I remember I sat down with somebody who was a national sales director for a large cigar manufacturer, which is to say, I'm not telling you who it was. And I asked them, I said, look, if you're at the trade show and somebody walks in with a phone and a fucking selfie stick, right? And they put it in your face and they're like, hey, I want to have an interview with you. Like, here, let's ask Nick. Nick, you're at the trade show. Somebody walks up to you with a phone and a selfie stick, like, hey, can I get an interview? Are you going to give that guy an interview?
Yeah.
Right.
If I'm there and I'm not busy and I'm not talking to somebody else, maybe I can get that guy to buy my cigar. You know
And
what
not at a discount.
So I think most people would, it depends. Now, is it the correct thing to do? No, but it's probably what everybody would do anyway. I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, you're not an authorized media personnel for PCA. I can't speak to you. That's really
you're not gonna turn down free advertising, and that's
the bottom line. That's the bottom line.
Now, yeah, then James, that's a holier than thou attitude that we're better than somebody with a phone with 10,000 followers that a manufacturer can reach by giving the guy 2 or 3 minutes. You can't say fault the guy for doing that.
Not that it was a question, Randy. I wasn't.
It was just a question. I've heard.
Just a question.
It was just a question.
Just a question.
So
I've heard your thoughts on this.
You have. So have you? So you would give the same interview to somebody who had the setup we had, right? Where a number of other media outlets were, in Tim's words, drooling over our setup, over our fucking 3 tanks that we were running around. You would give us the same interview that you gave them. Is that true, Nick? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would.
So
I mean,
I think
people.
Let me rephrase that question to Nick. Nick, if somebody showed up with a cell phone and asked you the same quality and caliber of questions that James or somebody, one of the other Simply Stogies or Coop, if Coop showed up with a cell phone and asked the same caliber and quality of questions they asked, you would give them and afford them all the time you would somebody with a nice setup, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Don't you get a feeling?
I don't really. No, the point is, if I see a crew with nice equipment and I see a guy with a cell phone and I have to pick, that's a different story. But if I'm standing there and the guy with a cell phone comes up and he wants to interview me, knock yourself out. I'll give him the same answers and the same type of interview I would give somebody with, a $10,000 camera and a rig, or whatever.
Okay. And that's fair. And I think that's fair. But it also creates a problem because
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just telling you, I think most people
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
Would do that. Maybe some of the more established brands that don't really care, that don't need the press or that, whatever, maybe they would not do it and say, oh, I only speak to this guy and that guy and I only give exclusives. There are going to be those people as well. But I think the majority of the people are going to be like, hey, listen, that's one more person. And if he's got 2 friends, that's 3 more potential people that could be smoking my cigar.
But you got to
probably
put the. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
You got to put the burden on the PCA to vet those people, and if they're a legitimate, cigar journalist or whatever you want to call it, media, and they only have a cell phone, the tools don't make the.
I don't disagree.
And so, if they get in and they're walking around with their cell phone, it's on the PCA. And I think you guys have a much stronger position as cigar media to go back to the PCA in a sense that you're saying, look, there's only a limited amount of time on the trade show floor. Those people are very busy when they're selling their products. And you do make an effort to schedule interviews and time and everything else if they are abusing that you go back to the PCA and you say, look, these chooches are over here with their cell phone and 2 subscribers to their blog to justify walking around the trade show floor and trick or treat. You guys have got to put a better effort into vetting those out so that we can do our job.
Lou, if I could say, the bigger problem that is much, much bigger of an issue for manufacturers is the trick-or-treaters.
Yeah.
I call them trick-or-treaters, but it's really, you're talking about people that are not media, that are getting there under media credentials. How about the amount of so-called retailers that are walking the floor, and they're taking my resource. I'm wasting time talking to them, that they're just there for a free cigar. And a lot of times, I'll figure them. So I do my own vetting process with whoever's there, and I'll say, hey, you got a business card? Oh, I just handed out my last one. This is before when people had business cards. And I'm like, well, it's the first day, the first hour. What do you mean you just handed your last one? Or whatever their bullshit that they're going to feed you. And then if they don't have this, I ask them enough qualifying questions. I know pretty quickly that they're at least 50% chance that I know I spotted another idiot that goes around. And there were also people, I found like people with, James, microphones, cameras, and that look legit. And they said they were with a radio station. And you know what? I believe they really were. But you know what their purpose was? To score as many cigars as they could there. I don't think they actually were there with the radio station's permission. I think they grabbed the equipment, and I watched them because, I did an interview with them. I'm like, okay, I wonder where this will actually be on. And I was curious because they looked real. And then I saw them and I go, these guys are full of shit, and they sure as hell were full of shit. So like Tim said, if you really want to give the effort of putting up a website and creating all this stuff, where there's a will, there's a way. People are going to get on the floor, and it's your job as a manufacturer or an exhibitor to vet these people yourself. If I start talking to some schmuck and he can't even spit out the words, or he can't speak English, I may cut him short real fast. But if he's asking intelligent questions and he seems honestly interested in the product, I'll continue the conversation thinking that he's got 2 followers. I don't care, because you know what? You never know.
Yeah. So what you're saying is wait, hold on, Randy. What you're saying, Nick, is don't let Tim do an interview, because he'll be like, hey, I'm here smoking the Potomac.
No, Nick had a great first point. Nick's best. Nick, he took the words out of my mouth a little bit, but I want to expand on it. The PCA does not even police the retailers from bringing along their best customer, who is your most notorious trick-or-treater. When you see the guy with the freaking Costco bag that's never 3 feet away from the retailer, that's just walking around, like a 5-year-old, and doesn't know it's wrong to steal the bubblegum cigars. So the PCA doesn't even vet that. You think they're going to vet media?
No.
Well, they've tried in their limited capacity to try to change that. They used to give you 4 badges years back for free. Then they made it 2 free, and you wanted 2 more, you had to pay more. This is for, like, depending on the size of the booth you have, you get X amount of free. So they've cut down on the number of freebies, so to speak, to try to cut down on that. But the biggest offenders, I think, are the ones with the huge booths, the ones that are like, half the floor, and they can have as many as they want, and they know all these people, and they give it to their friends, and then this, and then there's passing of the badges coming in. I've seen all kinds of stuff. I've seen people running around stealing cigars, literally grabbing when you turn away. I'll walk away. I'll tape down my cigars in the box, and they sit there and they rip it off. It's like, holy Christ, it's a free-for-all. So that's what they need to me, that's what they have to enforce and watch. The media is like, all right, great. How many people are going to go do that? But the actual trick-or-treaters, the real trick-or-treaters, that's the biggest problem with that show.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of the show?
Well, hold on. The purpose of the show is to
promote your brand to retailers, and to try to pick up retailers, and it's really to promote your brand. But ideally, is to to the retail members of the PCA that are in attendance to try to get more retailers. That is the purpose of the show. But a lot of retailers at all different sizes bring their favorite customers, their highest payers, because, they're always going to ask you, and they ask the manufacturers, you're a friend with a manufacturer, hey, can I come under your badge? I just want to walk the floor, see what's new. What they really mean is I want to get as many free cigars as I can. And it's a drain to brands and manufacturers of all sizes. It adds up.
Yeah, no, I agree. Lou Piscatelli says at least with the membership fee, you have some skin in the game. That would deter some scammers. Retailers need to kind of regulate themselves. I would agree with that, Lou. I would agree with that. And if I screwed up your last name, just be thankful I didn't have Tim read it.
Wow, this is going to be an ongoing thing.
Before we keep going, I noticed just now that one of our illustrious writers is on the call with us from simplystogies.com. My friend and our most prolific a reviewer on the website, Ryan Nias. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
There he is. There's the man, the myth, the legend. How you doing, buddy? You look cold.
It's actually not that bad. I thought it was going to be a lot worse, but it's not that bad. It's probably around like 38, something like that.
Where are you at, Ryan?
Right now, I moved to Virginia, so I'm right below Alexandria.
Wait. It's just 38 in Virginia. What is it here, Tim? What's the temperature where you're at, Tim?
Oh my God, I'd have to look. You're asking questions.
It's like 55 degrees outside.
It's warmer here than it is.
55?
Yeah, it's 49 here.
Shouldn't have moved, Ryan. You shouldn't have moved.
Yeah, turn on the deck lights.
It's a bummer. I mean, there's more lounges around here and everything. It's not like an hour away or so. That's good.
That's true. You have one in like 3-hour radius.
It's like in a 3-hour radius. I have 1, 2, 3, and then how many are in Des Moines? 5.
Yeah, I think so. I think
I
5
got like
Des Moines.
8
Des Moines,
in a 3-hour
Des Moines
radius.
Area,
Wow.
Yeah, that doesn't include the one in the ones in Illinois either, because there's one in Oregon, and I think 3 hours that'll get me pretty close to Rockford. And there's one in Rockford. That's like 10. That's like 10 in a 3-hour radius.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, look, not all of us can live in Jersey where there's like 30 of them. Okay.
Yeah, Jersey
30.
has all. That's
30.
I met Nick there. I noticed. Oh my gosh, it was like, this guy.
There's a lot. There's a lot of them out in Jersey. That's for sure.
Ryan, let's bring you in on this conversation because you write for us and you have your own. Like, go check him out. He's got his own. We'll call it a blog, but it's not. You check him out on YouTube and on the Instagrams, whiskey_tobacco. What do you think of all of this? Because now, to be honest, it sounds like, given what you do with your main page, with your social media stuff, because you do reviews all the time, you could go under your own thing and kind of do your own thing, and you don't even have to hang out with us. Be like, who? I don't fucking hang out with those assholes. Fuck those guys.
Perfect.
I don't. You're not buying ticket in anymore.
That's right. You can do this yourself now.
No, but I would argue that the smaller guys, I'm not. I would say that I'm not equipped enough to cover as much, and it's kind of intimidating. If I was myself, and I mean, for me, there's probably like 5 other dudes exactly like me that are trying to do different stuff. I don't think that myself, I'm like ready to even cover a show like the PCA. And I would feel bad just going there and just picking up cigars and stuff. I kind of do that. Like, if you're trying to get more retailers, really how that's going to go is like word of mouth. Like, every lounge I go to, I end up talking to some owner saying like, why don't you have these cigars? And they're like, there was a lounge in Tennessee I went to, it was in Clarksville, and they had no Tatuaje cigars, and I don't think they had any Foundation cigars either. And I was like, why is that? And it was around, it was right before July that happened. And it was right before you went to the PCA that year. And then they came back and they all of a sudden had a bunch of Tatuaje and Foundation cigars. Right. So I just I don't think, I think that the retail, or not the retailers, but the vendors are pretty smart as to who is pretty big and who can probably provide the most bang for the buck. Like if they float an interview to them, getting the word out and everything like that. But I mean, you guys are everywhere. Like you go to shows all the time, so
they still don't know who the hell we are.
Like it travels, right? Like people know.
They know who Nick is. That's who they know. They know Nick, and they're like, "Hey, Nick." And he's like, "Hey, I'm with Simply Stogies." They're like, "Who? Who the fuck are they?" He's like, I'm trying to help him out. This fucking schmuck in Iowa. He doesn't fucking know what he's doing. I'm trying to help him." And that's that. And then that's how Jose Blanco got on the show. Like Nick was like, "Come on, Jose. This fucking schmuck doesn't come on, help us out, help him out." Jose's like, "All right, but I'm calling fucking Coop to get the fucking lowdown on this fuck." So you're not wrong. I think manufacturers do kind of know. I was gonna say what side of the bread is buttered, right? But it's not even that. They know what's gonna, like you said, gonna get them the biggest bang for the buck. So they know Half Wheel comes around. They're talking to Charlie Brooks or Patrick. They know Coop's coming around. They're either going to talk to Coop or Bear or somebody else from his team. They know that if we come around, to not talk to Tim, to talk to myself or Nick.
Wow.
His interview go up. Like he's gonna plus up his interview skills before the.
Tim's gonna call me one day. He's gonna be like, "I'm working for Coop. He likes my secret sauce. He likes my secret sauce. I'm working for Coop."
Yeah, that's probably gonna happen. Actually, Coop, where are you? Here's my phone number. I'm gonna put it across the bottom
Coop, don't you dare, Coop. Don't you dare. Don't take him. Don't take him. Yeah. So look, I think we've kind of beat this dead horse enough. We'll see kind of how it goes, but to kind of wrap it all up in a bow, I do feel like the onus is on the PCA to change how they police it, and I think they need to start policing it a little bit better, and come up with something. I mean, even if it knocks me out of the, like, I can't go. All right, fine, like whatever. I'm glad I don't have to spend the, what was it, $700 altogether, 400 for the dues, 300 for the 2 extra badges. I'm glad I don't have to spend that anymore, and I can put that towards the travel and the food and some of that stuff. Because I mean, even that is pretty expensive when you go to Vegas. Like, food's always expensive. Jesus, there was one dinner I think I paid for that was like $450.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was a nice dinner. It was really nice. That was the one. Were you there, Tim, when we went to the that Italian place? I tried to get
I was at that one.
Yeah, I tried to get Nick to come, and Nick's like, "Nah, I'm just gonna go back to the room. I'm tired." I'm like,
Vegas. Right. He's from Jersey.
Nick's like, yeah, I get better fucking Italian at home.
Yeah, I'm not. If you invited me for a steak dinner, that would have been a different story. I would have came, but
he's doing keto.
Pasta I get everywhere.
He's doing carnivore.
Yeah. Well, we'll do a steak dinner this next time, Nick, and that's my treat. Because I don't have to spend $700 on dues anymore.
There you go.
Dues and badges. So there you go. There's our dinner. Look, we're quickly coming up on the end of the year, right? This is a new show. And so I kind of wanted to float something out here for the folks that are listening, watching, tuning in from around the world, and also for the panel here of esteemed guests. And I'll, like, this is my opportunity to walk back something that I have said for the past 4 years, pretty adamant, as a matter of fact, that I would never, ever, under any circumstances, do this because I think they're all shit. And that opinion hasn't changed. Mine is shit as well, but we're going to do a top 10 cigar list this year. Anybody? Let me just, I would get initial thoughts. I'm looking at Nick. He's big on my screen right now. and I didn't see a reaction. Nick, like, what do you think? We're going to do a top 10 cigar list this year. Oh, here it comes. I see it. I see it.
That's great. That's great. Why not? Why not do it? There's not enough top 10 lists out there. But no, honestly, I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, people obviously like that kind of thing. You know how I feel about cigar reviews in general. I think they have a place. I think it's a guide for people, but everybody's palate's different and everybody needs to try their own cigars. But it is some type of barometer and gauge for people to have. I think how some of these so-called experts decide they're experts on smoking cigars is another thing. I think everybody's an expert, if you want to know the truth, to their own palate. But if you want to do it, that's great. I think if it brings more people to the site, if more people, if there's interest in it, why not? Go for it. I think it's a good thing. I'm not saying as a bad thing. I think there's a gazillion ones out there already, but listen, if we want to be a player in this arena, there's no reason why we shouldn't have our own top 10.
Yeah. No, all right. Tim, like, let me get your initial thoughts and reactions to.
I mean, like, look, I've been with you in Simply Stogies since.
Let's not say that.
Not
reword
quite.
that. Let's
yeah,
reword
well,
that.
okay. So, shortly after the beginning, very shortly after the beginning, and being part of Simply Stogies has been an emotional cigar roller coaster with you. And sometimes you're like, I want to do this, and then you don't, and then you do. And it's fun. I think that the way that you want to do a list this year is quick, short, sweet, easy. I like it. It's a little bit different than what everybody else is doing.
I'm not sure that doesn't sound like it's a good thing.
No, to me it is. I mean, if you're doing something different in the industry, I think it's a good thing.
Sure.
Oh, hey, look, Randy's got a camera.
Randy does have a camera now. Randy, since you have that camera, why don't you? Who are you booting?
Nobody. I'm just kidding.
Oh, you want to boot Randy? I can do it. Randy,
threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, right. Give me your thoughts and impressions on.
You're kind of on the fucking hook because you told fucking Nick Melillo that you were going to name it the number one of the year, aren't you? Yeah, so is that where you like, oh shit, now I gotta put out a.
It's actually been in the back of my head for the last year.
There were promises made, is all I'm saying. Now.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, it is my cigar of the year. Ryan, what do you think? You're part of the team. Kind of a big change to the Simply Stogies. It's a dog, as Randy's dog wants to play. Ryan, what say you?
I would say that it's a good thing. I don't see anything wrong with that. I agree with Nick, and like, palates are just how things taste. It's a subjective thing, but people will compare what you think about cigars to any top 10 list. So I know, like, in one of the more recent comments I got in one of my videos, someone was like, this was a like number one on a top 10 list. Your palate is garbage. I was like, hey, thanks, man. Fuck it, whatever. But that's people they look for similarities on a lot of top 10 lists and how they like purchase cigars. So, I mean, people like that type of thing.
Yeah, don't go off my top 10 list and purchase cigars. Like, just don't, because it's my top 10 list, right? It's not your top 10 list. It's my top 10 list. And I always find
but people have actually reached out to us and said, I want to try this cigar based on your review or your recommendation. So,
and they have. And look, and I've always said that if I do one thing through all of these things that we're doing and all of the podcast and the reviews and everything, I've always said, there's one person who tries a cigar that they wouldn't have normally tried because of something that we have said, then we've accomplished what I set out to accomplish, which is to just expand everyone's palate, bring them along on my journey, and they get to try some new stuff along the way, right? And that's what it's always been. I mean, I remember, Tim, when you hated me because you're like, my wallet hates you, my wife hates you. I used to smoke and again, there's nothing wrong with this. You want to do it, smoke what you like. I don't care. But I'm just throwing Tim under the bus, not you. If you do what Tim has done, which was Tim looked at me and said, I typically would just bought CI, $10, special where you get
so I did that
40 cigars for $10 or CBID.
Hey. So I did that because when we started hanging out, and I'm like, holy shit, okay, this guy, he's buying cigars, and it was a quantity thing. You had this quantity, so I was like, okay, how can I get quantity quick? And then after a while, I'm smoking cigars that you're giving me, and I'm like, damn, I'm buying shit. And so then, as time goes by, I'm like, all right, so now I'm very careful. I'm like, I don't need that 5-pack because I'm going to put it towards this box.
Because because now you're like, I think I'll get a box of because you go up to Smolder in what's the town?
Smoldering Cigar,
Smoldering
Cigar in Livermore, Iowa, and
Livermore.
I'm gonna try to get back. Brian and Shauna own that lounge. Great people. They carry Nick's stuff.
Mm-hmm. You go up there all the time.
Oh, they're the one. Stuff. Okay.
Yeah. I knew somebody did.
Well, and they're the only lounge.
And it's not in their discount bin?
It's not in their discount
bin. No,
it
is not at all. No. So I do need to get up there.
I can't wait. I'm just going to be honest with everybody. I can't wait until March. The end of March, Randy and Nick will be in the same room. And I kind of want to see Nick claw Randy's eyes out. It's kind of,
far from it. Randy has been a supporter and has enjoyed my blends for a number of years. And the only reason I'll call him an idiot, since he doesn't carry my cigars.
Many reasons.
The only reason he carried them and he brought them in was because of Randy. He didn't sell them. I don't think he tried to sell them. I don't think anybody tried to smoke them.
Right.
And, listen, when you have a brand that doesn't have the recognition, if you don't get people as a retailer, it's your job. This is how I feel as a manufacturer. I don't care. If you want to be a convenience store where people come in and say, give me that pack of Macanudos, like a Marlboro, great. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that's not the cigar store that I should be in, or many brands, because they're not going to go, hey, what's that? La Vida Havana. Oh, okay, let me try that. The reality is there's too many things. It's not the new flavor of the week. There's new brands coming out and popping up every day. So if a brand is out there and a cigar store is willing to bring it in, you would think they would at least make an attempt to sell that cigar. If they have and it failed, and it happens, you know what? So be it. That happens, and it's happened to every brand for whatever reason.
I think with a brand like yours, Nick, or a newer brand, or a brand that doesn't have that much, just it's not the Patel, it's not the Marlboro, it takes a level of give a shit that most tobacconists, unless they own the store, don't have, because they have to know their customers, they have to know their customers' palate, and they have to say, hey, try this. You know what I mean? And they have to, they gotta have the right customers that are willing to smoke other stuff too. There's always that guy that comes in, doesn't matter what you have, he's gonna want,
and that's fine. There's always going to be that customer. But as a store, you have to decide, hey, why do people come here? If it's the atmosphere, if it's because that tobacconist knows my palate, knows what I like, and I can't be on top. I'm a doctor. I don't do this every day, but I come in, and Joe, the tobacconist at ABC, tobacco store, knows my palate and says, hey, Joe, we just got this new brand. I think it's something you should really try. And I appreciate that as a customer, and will try it. And if it's on point, it's great to have that type of relationship with your tobacconist, with your local, whatever it is, whatever you buy. It's having that personalized service and attention that everybody wants in life, which we are missing so much, and we're going away from it in every type of business that's out there. But so when you have that local tobacconist, that's a good thing. And because cigars are so social and about meeting people and not just, there are people that never go to a cigar shop. There's a lot of people. But you know what? The majority of people are missing out of the social aspect of what a cigar does about bringing people together. In your local cigar shop, you should be able to get that good vibe when you walk in. If they don't get it, they'll never come back. Maybe they'll come back to buy, whatever, a 5-pack of whatever it may be, but they're not going to go and sit there and then get to know the tobacconists, get to know the regular customers, and then those shops miss out. And
Let me ask.
Fortunately, there are a lot of good shops like that. So.
Well, let me. How do you parse through that, Nick? As a brand owner, and you go into new shops all the time, and sometimes you don't meet these owners. Sometimes it's the broker or the salesperson, and there's an argument to be made that just get in the shop, just get in the shop, make the sale, right? Because you want to be in as many shops as you can be in and have.
Well, I've changed my no. Let me cut you off. Yes, I've learned. I've been doing this a while. Where what I've tell people lately. I found my lane, and I'm happy with the lane that I'm in. I stay in my lane. I know what speed I can go at, and I don't need to kick it into a higher gear because I'm doing okay. I like what I do. I enjoy what I do. I make enough money. Do I want it to be in every shop? If people want it to be there, but I'll walk into a shop today, James, and I'll look around and I'll see the type of shop. I can get a feel. And if a potential customer or retailer has called me, for instance, I'll literally say, you know what? My cigar is not right for this store. And the more sometimes you tell somebody, no, you don't want this, the more they want it. And I'm not playing reverse psychology. Trust me. I just go, look, it's not going to work here. What do you mean? You have a gazillion brands that I can see there's dust over that nobody goes to, and you let them sit there on your shelf. The ones that are moving are the ones that, are the known name brands. Nobody's helping those customers. It's a sea of cigars. It's going to sit. It's great to have that sale. And you're right. When I first started, I was like anybody with a pulse, anybody that was going to pay for, I would want to be in every single shop. And it was a numbers game in the beginning because you want validation. But to me, the validation now comes not in that first sale. To me, the first sale is nothing. It's the repeat sale. If you get one sale out of it and you never hear from that guy, to me, that's a failure, not a plus. And I don't want any failures. So I want to put everything I can do to make it happen. What are you laughing at? What?
I'm laughing. I'm laughing at Tim. So Tim has access, Nick, to a ticker that goes under everybody. And so I'm looking at Facebook, and it says, Nick, Nick is a master blender. Don't let him tell you different.
What are you typing? Is that on Facebook? Okay.
Yeah, it's on everywhere. It's on Facebook, YouTube. There's a little ticker underneath it. And it says that as you're talking. I'm sitting here rolling. Just fucking leave it to Tim. But you're not okay. Look, you're not wrong, right? But you don't get into this business, Nick, to not make money. And so while you can personally walk into a shop and you can make that judgment call, like, we don't belong here. This isn't where LH.
That's only from experience of, do you know how many shops I've walked into and how long I've been doing this? And there's people that have been doing it for 10 times longer than me, but you kind of figure it out. You go, okay, I get it. Like, it all starts to come together, and you have to decide if you're going to play by their rules, by the rules of the industry. And I realized at first, that's what I did. I tried, I studied the business. I studied the market, how people are doing it. And I realized, that's why 90% of the brands that are out there fail, because they're all doing the same thing that I was trying to do the right thing. But is it the right thing? The brands that have made it from nowhere, that have come from nothing, the ones that have made it are the ones that had something different about them. It's great to have a good cigar, but it could be literally the best cigar in the world, and you're not going to have any more play if you don't have everything else around it. I've said that a million times. I could take Cohiba Bejiques, if that's the most coveted cigar, or whatever the case may be, and take that, put my band on it, and it's not going to sell any easier or better unless you have all the other elements involved with that. It's great to have a great cigar and people to buy it, but you got to get people to buy it, and how you get them to buy it is what it all comes down to. It's your way of doing that, and everybody's different. Like Roma Craft, they don't have brokers. Nope. The bigger brands that have come out of new brands, like the Nick Melillos. Okay, why is Nick Melillo? Okay, he makes fantastic cigars, but it doesn't hurt that he came from the groupie heaven of Drew Estate. Same thing with Steve Saka, another person that makes fantastic cigars. But if he didn't have that pedigree of that background to give him that boost, I mean, who goes into a trade show his first year with no cigars, nothing? He didn't have a banner, if I don't remember, and he had a line of people coming up to his booth to buy cigars that have not even been made yet. Is that the norm? No. But
no,
you know what?
Not.
The point of it is the brands that have made it, Jim Robinson, he's a pretty big brand for a brand that's come out in the last decade, that's in, over 2,200 shops. Why? Because of the gimmick. And he'll be the first person to say it's the gimmick. Is it a great cigar? Yes, it's a fantastic cigar. But why does that cigar continue to sell? And why does it open the door? Because nobody had thought about putting a cigar and wrap it in a tobacco leaf. And that got people interested in it. You have to have something that makes you stand out, but and every state is different. Every country is different. That's why I've catered more to international markets, because they seem to care more about the cigar, the story, the gimmick too. The gimmick sells. There's nothing wrong with the gimmick if it's followed by a good cigar.
Some of that depends on the shop too, because like our friend Jim just messaged me the other day, Nick.
Which Jim?
Man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, our friend.
Yeah.
Jim.
Our friend. Yeah.
Our friend messaged me the other day, and we've been talking the last couple of days. The shop he frequents out in Jackson Hole is lousy with rare pinks, and it's going to sell them to us at near cost because they can't get rid of them in that shop.
That's a shame.
Any other, it's like, oh, these are a limited edition, you can't have them. And he's like, oh yeah, the shop's always got them. He's like, guy told me he'd give me a deep discount if I was going to buy some pinks. And I was like, well, let me ask some friends, because I might, I'll pass that along at that discount. I won't gouge anything.
Right.
I'm smoking one right now out of a box I got that this is the first one I think I've smoked out of that box. Jim shows up, grabs a handful out of the box and leaves. He's like, oh, that was great. But like you said, the gimmick and all that, but it's also the shop and the clientele too.
Yeah.
Some just aren't into certain things.
It's all individual. Like you got a market like Atlanta, there's 80 plus shops in that market, but there's so many. They're literally across the street from each other, but yet they're all different. They're all different. They all have their little clique, and they all seem to kind of make their mark and be able to survive. So there's a lot of factors of why a cigar shop is there. And there's people that have my cigars and that do very well, and I'm important to certain shops. And then there's others that never bring me in, and that's okay. And I get it. What are you laughing at now, Randy? Now I see James.
I thought you were going to be like, and then there's other shops, just throw me in the discount.
Yeah, well, I don't have to repeat it. I'll let you do it.
Yeah, right. Well, Randy and I were talking about this today. Is that like, how do shops kind of figure out who they're going to carry and who they aren't? So there's a pretty big shop up in Michigan that we were talking about today, and he's like, well, they don't carry any of this and they don't carry any of that. And I'm like, I said, well, I think every shop has to they can't carry everybody, right? So they're going to make a decision based on what they think their customers are going to like, based on their customers' palate. And that's for the shops that I think do a good job, is where they'll go in and they will try to cater to their customers' palate. And then you have the shop, and I'm not going to mention names on this show, but they may or may not have yours in the discount bin. Nick, who don't really cater to their clientele as much as just take orders. They're order takers. They are not tobacconists. Somebody walks in and they're like, "Hey,
and
I
that's a
want
business
this."
model. I
It is a
want
business,
to make it
100%.
clear that I'm not putting down those shops.
No,
They could be some of the most successful, profitable shops out there. It's just different. That's their model. I've talked to many of those owners, and they're nice people. I had one situation in a shop that one story. I don't want to make this about me and the brand, but I have to tell you this one story that it breaks my heart, because I went in there. It was a new shop. It was it was a big shop. They've been around for a long time. The owner has been around probably 30, 40 years, looking to actually sell it to somebody else to get out of the business because it's so successful, been there forever. The humidor was huge. The broker that brought me in there had the foot in the door. I never would have even gotten in to begin with. Went in there the first month. He carried a lot of my SKUs. I mean, I'd say probably had 21 SKUs, which is a large number compared to the amount of cigars that I have. And, after a month and a half, the guy sold out. And I'm like, this is great. I said, this is fantastic. I went in and I did an event because it was so successful and so big. Sold a ton more cigars. I go back a third month and literally half of the cigars are sold out. And I'm looking, I said, and I'm trying to explain to the retailer, not to try to tell them how to do their job, but it's like, as a manufacturer, the last thing you want to see is when something starts to get a little traction, that they stop bringing it in, or they run out, and then the guy goes, oh, I was going to buy one of those, but okay, I'll move over to here. So you want to see it there. But again, you can't tell a business owner or a retailer how to do business. You can just suggest, and that's the best. But anyway, I was noticing that, yeah, we got to put an order. I knew something was up. 2 weeks go by, a month, I go back because I wanted to see it continue. And literally, the owner was never in, and literally everything was out of stock. And when I finally talked to the owner, he's like, yeah, we're just not going to carry it. I go, can I ask why? You clearly have sold it. It's one thing you go to a shop and they go, look, it sat on the shelf. It didn't sell. Nobody tried to sell it. Nobody asked for it. It died. Okay. What are you going to say to that? Hey, what I usually do is, hey, how can I help make that move? There's something I can do to help get the ball rolling. But in this situation, you want to talk about frustration. He just said, you know what? We really go to these 8-10 brands that we sell the most of. And, we tried it because of our relationship with the broker, and it's a great cigar. It sold well, but don't want to carry it. Man, is that frustrating. Man, is that frustrating.
I've talked, and you're getting into the business model and how they're going to run it as a business outside of a tobacco shop. And that's, I've noticed talking to a lot of shop owners, a lot of guys that are working behind the counter, who are the guys that are making money for the shop owner. They're not the owner. They're not necessarily business savvy, or there's some that are profit driven, but misguided profit driven. And there are some that don't realize, well, if I sell Nick's $10 cigar and I'm making, I got a markup on it, and I sell 2 of those for every one of this $20 cigar, it's just the math. When you start, those guys start talking about the math and sales and profit margin and all this and stock on the shelf. Sometimes if you're business savvy and you know how a P&L sheet works, you're like, that doesn't make any sense at all. And then you got some shops that are always trying to nudge their clientele up in price. But as you do that, you're going to sell less sticks, you're going to carry less SKUs, and you're going to make the same amount of money. But they're going to have less work to do if they're, does that make sense?
Well, the key is to know
how they can do that.
The key is to know your customer, like in any business, know your customer. And if your demographics are somebody that can afford a $30 stick all day long, why not make double the profit if that's your clientele? But if you're pushing to a guy that normally is comfortable for whatever reason, whether it's financial or it's just they don't want to spend the money in a $10 range, and you're forcing him or pushing him to go to that 30, he may not go back anymore because he's like he's made to feel uncomfortable or not worthy because he wants to buy that. So you have to know your customer. I mean, cigar shops are their businesses, and that's the most important thing. And looking at the bottom line, I think the problem in most cigar stores, now there's, like I said, there's probably 3,000 real cigar stores in the United States, and a majority of those stores were open from hobbyists, from retired people, from just, cigar lovers that wanted to have, that was their ideal dream, to be able to have a store and be able to smoke every day and maybe make some money along the way. And they're happy in their retirement. But a lot of those people don't realize that, they're going out of business, and they won't know it until they turn the lights off on them,
Yep. I like I said, when that, if that, I don't ever bring that up, but if we start talking about things like that, I'm just, a lot of times I'm like, I don't understand your business model here. Unless you're a Nick Cirrus, a prosumer, as you called yourself in the beginning.
Right.
And you called yourself that, instead of going, into a brand, they've gone into a cigar shop or a lounge. And it's,
right.
It's sad the ones that don't last, it seem, are some of the best, because it is a guy who's a geek about cigars, but he ends up not running a shop. He ends up running a hangout for his buddies that eventually doesn't pay the bills.
Right. Yeah. And there's a lot of failed shops, and there's people that are willing to pick it up, pick up the mantle once the other guy drops. But if, it's a business. At the end of the day, it's a business. You can't do this as a hobby unless you're independently wealthy or just have other sources of income, which a lot of people do. Let's say they're retirees, pensioners, financially independent, whatever the case may be, and they can do this because it's a passion. The bottom line is, you should do what makes you happy. I mean, life's too short, so if it's cigars and you can do it, I say more power to you.
That's the quote of the night right there. Just do what makes you happy.
What?
Let's bring in the peanut gallery here. I know Adam's on, one of our LE Club members. Adam, as you sit there in your stupid chair out on your, because I talk with Adam all the time, so I'm gonna give him shit just so everybody knows. Like, I'm not just giving some random guy who's like, I really like your show. And he's a friend. I'm gonna give him shit. You're in your stupid chair on your stupid deck. I hope it's really cold down there where you're at.
Sounds like you're jealous, James.
Probably not. No. Why would I be jealous? I'm inside more. Nice. What do you look for when you go into a shop? Like, when you go into a shop for the first time and you're making a decision to spend your money and maybe come back at a later time, what do you look for in a shop, Adam?
First time caller, long time listener.
Was this the Howard Stern show?
It might be. Yeah.
I've got nothing useful to contribute. I'm just here as a peanut gallery. But
Congratulations.
If I'm going in, more than anything, it's about the environment for me. Like, I can always find something to smoke, but if I'm not either welcomed or if it's not a comfortable environment, that's the big thing that'll drive me somewhere else. So I mean, as you know, I tend to smoke any and all things. So I'm not really brand agnostic. Well, I guess I am brand agnostic, where it's more about the environment for me than anything.
Okay. What does that include? Does that include just ambiance and like the shop itself, or are you talking about like maybe patrons as well? Like, who's going into the shop, coming in, hanging out?
Yeah, all of the above.
All of the above.
You know, okay. I want good conversation. But then there's times where it's nice just to be left alone and have a cigar, and having that space as well where you don't feel obligated to talk is nice as well.
Yeah, no, which is why you usually sit there in your pterodactyl cage, as Lou put it, and hang out by yourself. Hate. Yeah, haters gonna hate. Speaking
They're
of
comfy
Lou,
now.
Is it you look comfortable in a cage, which is a weird thing to fucking say. Let me tell you.
Then I got the heater.
Jesus, is it really that cold there?
It's probably the same as there, 55 somewhere.
Yeah, it's like 55. Yeah, it's really not that cold. Lou, what about you? What do you look for when you go into a shop? And I know things are going to change for you, and we'll get to that at some point later when you're ready. But when you walk into a shop for the first time, what are you looking for?
Comfortable seating. I mean, there's a lot of variation when you go into the humidor, and some of the best shops for hanging out and smoking a cigar are those that don't have a very good variety of cigars in their humidor. There's a shop where my daughter goes to school that the place is really nice to hang out. It's a great environment, but the humidor is just teeny tiny, and they've got just, one box of several brands in there. It's not real well stocked as far as, finding great brands and stuff that I like to smoke, but they're very friendly. The staff kind of leaves you alone. You can sit there and smoke without having to engage, but if you want to engage, the people are friendly. And so, you get the regulars that are a lot of usually retired people that have time in their day to go smoke. I try to patronize local businesses wherever I'm traveling or wherever, and go in there and check it out. And some places that have the best selection have got terrible lounge environments associated with them. So, I tend to not hang out. I'm lucky enough. I'm in Tallahassee, Florida, where I've got 6 different shops to go to, which is more shops than we should have in town. Just because of the number of people that smoke, people kind of find their favorite shop or whatever their regular shop to go to, and you can kind of choose who to go hang out with. But mainly is a comfortable place to smoke, because we don't have bad weather like you guys have bad weather, but there's times when it's too hot or it's too cold here. And I want to be able to go in there and smoke and not feel like I've got to, compelled to buy $500 worth of cigars. And also that, if I do make a commitment and buy a couple of cigars, that I'm treated like anybody else. And I think that most shops that I go to fall into that category. So you got to find the right tribe. I mean, it's more of a tribal thing where you go and you find the right people that want to hang out and people that want to talk about different cigars and stuff like that. And most people are open to it. So,
yeah, I chose poorly. Ryan, what about you? What do you what do you look for when you walk into a shop?
Mostly it's environment. Sometimes it kind of depends. Every time so there's like that big lounge I go to when I went to Jersey all the time. That I met Nick in, and Nick was right about that. There's no ventilation in there, so it kind of sucks. And there's tons of people in there.
Yeah,
but there is waitresses, and I can tell just by walking in that a lot of people will go in there just to talk to the waitresses a lot.
What's the name of this shop?
Not the Hooters that sells cigars.
Yeah, I was going to say it's Hooters.
It's Randy, it's so close to that. But
when you guys were talking about media, Nick was like, this guy with a cell phone. I was like, it's probably based on cleavage too. How good of an interview? How long that interview is going to last?
There's very few women in this business.
There is.
Yeah. And I mean that brings a lot of people into that particular store, but I mean, other than that, there's a huge selection in that store too. But that's really backed by a huge vendor too. But other ones,
the biggest problem though is the ventilation. It's it's so bad, and that company's got the money to be able to change it, and they choose not to, and they don't realize how many customers they've lost. They think they're the only game in town, and for the most part they're pretty close to that in that proximity. But their ventilation, it's really just sad how bad it is when you can afford to change it. That's what's, it's one thing you can't do it, and you got to open the door, do what you have to do, but this company, no reason for them to have that problem.
They need new chairs too.
Oh yeah.
But there's that. There's smaller shops where I don't feel so welcomed until I actually sit down and I start talking with someone. Like a lot of people are kind of hesitant to talk to some passerby kind of a consumer, and you find out after that it's actually pretty welcoming. But there's there's other shops that are just trying to sling like whatever cigar is hot. You can tell by their displays. Um, and they have an unorganized humidor or something. If I see that, or if I see like mold on the cigars, I usually won't go
It's
there.
plume. It's plume.
Oh,
It's
whoa!
yeah,
No such thing as mold in the cigar lounge. That's boom.
plume.
Come on.
Yeah. But then there's like there was a shop in Missouri, the middle of Missouri, and they fancied themselves like just a really upscale type of establishment where you're in the middle of Missouri. It's not. It's just not. You can pretend like it's gonna be like that. It's just not gonna be like that unless you're near St. Louis or something. But you're in the middle of Missouri, and they lost me once they opened up their lounge and then charged like these really exorbitant prices for just smoking in the lounge. They had like no area that you could just smoke a cigar. You would have to buy a cigar, then pay to actually smoke in their lounge.
Wait, so you had to buy the cigar and then pay for the privilege of smoking in their smoking lounge.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
that's ridiculous.
I was like, did you guys think about that? And they're like, oh yeah, we looked at the clientele around the area. I was like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Maybe they did. Maybe they did look at the clientele around the area and they're like, we're trying to price some of them out.
We don't
Yeah.
want these people.
And then there was another shop that opened up like recently before I left Missouri, and he was really all about like having, and he really did cater to the crowd around that area because there was a lot of younger soldiers and their spouses and stuff like that. So you have got a lot of younger people, and he would have like Latin nights and stuff like that. And he ended up being pretty successful, but he had a crap selection, and he had like cigars from CI. Like it was wild to see. I was like, and he was charging crazy prices for them. And he had great ventilation in there. It was crazy. It was crazy to see. Great ventilation. I was like, what the hell is going on here? It was confusing, but I try to look for at least a place with good ventilation, a pretty good atmosphere, a well-organized humidor. But I mean, that's me. I'm a little bit pickier than maybe the usual smoker, but
No,
I mean,
I'm just as picky. I'm just as picky. It has to be. And there are very few shops that I've been in that hit all of those kind of markers for me. And I got no problem throwing them out there right now. In Omaha, Nebraska, Safari Cigar. In Lincoln, Nebraska, Capital Cigar. In Henderson, Nevada, in Fuego. And there's been a few more. Like, okay, so you I wanted to circle back to this. You said you were in a shop in Clarksville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Was that? It wouldn't happen to be Screaming Eagles, would it?
No, I didn't go to.
You didn't get to go to Screaming Eagles because I like that shop.
Yeah, they cater to the local crowd. Screaming Eagle. It's the 101st, right? So,
The 101st, yeah.
so it's
I knew Randy was going to say something.
But I like from a friend who was stationed in Campbell for a long time. He went there too, but he chose the other place just because it was a better atmosphere. He could more there rather than Screaming Eagles. So not that they had the best selection or anything. I think they really did. They're trying to expand and figure out what their clientele really likes, but Clarksville has a lot of stuff going for it. They're
Humidor Lyle is another one in Chicago. The Clayton in Chicago. Uptown in Chicago. Uptown's just historic. Like, you should go. If you've never been, great shop, great people that carry LH. They need to carry more of LH. I need to get a hold of him, a Phil up there, Ledbetter, and be like, come on, carry more LH. I got to go up there. But yeah, so let's shift gears a little bit. So this is a 2-cigar show. My first cigar was the Castagli Brave, the new one of the new ones they just released. They also have the Forager, which everyone's going nuts over. It's got that Zimbabwe tobacco in it. I can't wait to try that. But this Brave was really, really good. Actually, tonight at the Humidor Lyle, they're opening up the Castagli Lounge. It's the official opening of that. So look for a review on the Humidor Lyle coming up soon at simplystogies.com. Great shop. Just fantastic people, huge selection, lots of seating, great ventilation. And they really do it. They do it right. And if you can call them and order something, they'll ship it to your house. Great shop. Randy just did that.
Yeah, they're very responsive on the Facebook Messenger, and then you call them, give them your credit card, and then boom, you get a tracking number. They text you the tracking number right back and all that. They've always given me 10% off a box too.
Yep.
Whenever I've ordered online.
The box of specialists that's sitting right there that was signed by Jeremy Costagli. He gave me a deal on that. And I was like, you don't have to give me a deal. I was like, no, I'm going to give you a deal. Okay. Like, I appreciate it, but he didn't have to.
Yeah, and those guys too. I ordered. That was the only place I could find a box of Night Commander that wasn't what Cigar Page has it for $780.
Yeah,
it's with it on in stock.
Nothing like selling that $600 box for another 150 more.
Yeah, and then when I looked at their Facebook page and I called them, they had the Dragons, and I knew James was interested. And I asked them, they had 2 boxes left, and they said, no, we're really saving that for our local guys. See if anybody wants it. We're down to 2 boxes. If we don't sell them, we'll call you. And I was like, I totally respect that. That's awesome. That's a good lounge taking care of their clientele first. You don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, I've got Year of the Dragons. Sorry, 2 phone calls and they were all sold out.
Yeah. No, I think I did procure, if you will, a box of Davidoff Year of the Dragon today. So I'm pretty happy about that. We'll see when that comes out. Oh, there's the puppers. My second cigar, we'll go around the horn, see if anybody else is smoking a second cigar, is the Tatuaje Jason that came in the 2023 Saints and Sinners pack, which I was shocked. For $200, you got quite a bit of stuff. You got 25 cigars, if my math serves me right, 27 cigars. Is that right, Lou? 27? Yeah, 27 cigars, and a t-shirt, a hat, and a challenge coin. And it's great. So I got 10 of these Jason, which it's not the OG Jason, so nobody freak out, but it's still very good so far. And then they had 15 cigars that are, I think they're existing blends with different wrappers on them, just kind of like experimental stuff that like no one else is going to get to smoke. I got 15 of that, and then I got 2 of the pumpkin. Those limited edition pumpkins that came in a coffin, which is Pete Johnson over there, Tatuaje, just killing it. The Lomo de Cedro this year was a great cigar from him. I really liked that Lomo de Cedro. I know Randy did too until Jim Manley stole it from him.
What was that? Did he
until
steal?
Jim, yeah, the Lomo de Cedro in the butcher paper.
Oh yeah, that's another classic Jim, Nick. He's like, oh, I grabbed that bundle out of there. Those are really great, like everyday smokes. I'm like, yeah, that was kind of a limited edition, the Tenderloin. It was a $250 bundle. Yeah. Oh, well, I'll make it up to you. It's okay. He did the same thing with my Byrons, man. He's like, oh, these are great. And I'm like, yeah, they are.
Better be for a $40 fucking cigar. It better be fucking great.
I didn't love that guy so much. And if he wasn't so good to me, and he wasn't a giant, I would have to choke him out.
Tim, are you smoking a second cigar yet?
I actually am. It is well, hold on a second here. For whatever reason, it doesn't want to catch me as the speaker.
No,
so I'll go into gallery. Check that out right there, wrapped in paper.
Oh, that's a Jornal.
Yep, you betcha.
What is that called? What is it?
That's the Jornal from OxfordCigarCompany.com. That's their house cigar. He calls it the Jornal, which is Portuguese for magazine or newspaper.
For the journal.
Yeah, it comes wrapped in a little newspaper.
I think Lucas has plans to have those banded eventually, but for right now they just come wrapped in newspaper, which is why he came up with the name Jornal.
That's been done for years, right?
Yeah.
Out of Cuba.
Yeah, I do. I get it. But it's a good cigar. If you're looking for an inexpensive cigar that's really good, like I can't recommend the Jornal enough because I think it really is a good cigar. Anybody else smoking a second? Are you smoking anything other than an Undercrown, Randy?
Well, I moved on to the Rare Pink.
Oh, how's that?
It's all right.
Jesus, that's actually high praise from Randy. So Like that's actually not bad. Lou, what are you smoking? Are you on your second cigar yet?
Oh yeah,
What
I'm
are you
smoking
smoking?
the Tuxla T110.
Ooh, that's a good cigar too.
Yeah.
Yeah, another Pete Johnson masterpiece, if you will.
Fucking
Uh,
Hey
fanboy.
Randy, you're supposed to tongue the tip of those. Like it's all about the tongue movement on the rare pinks.
See, I bought a box of the signatures because I don't know why there's the sophisticated hooker and the sloppy seconds and like the fucking herpes crab or whatever they call them. I don't know. I just didn't want a box of that. It's not my thing. So I'm like, I'll get the signatures. Nobody else is gonna want those because it's not cool, I guess.
you buy cigars for weird reasons, but whatever. Yeah, like this is the thing, Randy. I remember when you got that box. You walked in and you're like, what's this? And so I'm like, oh, it's a rare pink. Like it's in the name. It's rare. They're not going to make them like all the time. It's a yearly release. Da, 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 da. You're like, all right, I'll get that box. Jesus fuck. He just picks it. He's like, I want this, and the guy rings it up. I'm like, whatever.
Well, it hangs out in the humidor, and I give more of them away than I smoke.
Let me tell everybody. Yeah, no, I do that with like the Senator. I've given more with the Senator away than I smoke.
Too easy.
Yeah, I mean, I do. Like, I need to come raid your humidor because you have like 5 boxes.
I'm down to like 3 boxes.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, you had 5. You had the state's allocation. You had Iowa's allocation for
whatever. Iowa wouldn't have appreciated them.
No, but you do. You do. Which, by the way, let's talk about that. So one of the, like, everyone knows that's my cigar of the year. I've made no bones about it. That's what my personal cigar of the year is the Senator from Foundation. And so taking a look at doing a top 10 list this year, and somebody, Lou Piscatelli, again, I'm sure that I have absolutely slaughtered his last name, but he said, he's like, when you're trying to come up with a list, all you really need to do is take advertising from cigar manufacturers, and that's how you come up with your top 10 list.
Yeah.
Which is, I think it's not wrong.
It's a good way
wrong.
to do it.
Yeah, it's not wrong.
Is it Simply Stogie Aficionados?
No, it is not. No, we are not doing that. It's funny, but we're not doing that. No. And we don't do that for that very reason. Because I have an issue with how Cigar Aficionado does it, and it kind of, look, I don't understand why aficionados and enthusiasts and hobbyists and those in the cigar lifestyle follow that top 25 list so closely and go out of their way. But it isn't. It's always been my question. Is it the gold standard? Because it's pay to play. And I've heard from multiple people in the industry that I obviously will never, ever out as saying it, but they have all said it is pay to play. 100%. If you want in on the top 25, you have to spend X amount in advertising every year. And every year that number, that X goes up.
Your average guy isn't having those conversations and sees that as the gold standard. And it was for years. I feel the same way that Nick and you both feel about Cigar Aficionado. It was the first of its kind. It was what brought cigars to your mailbox every week before the internet and everything, or every month. It was the thing and the only source. So I don't think that'll ever change that's not the gold standard of top 25.
I have a hard time saying anything is a gold standard when it's bought and paid for. I really do. Well, I really do. And to do a top 25 on what is ostensibly an American magazine and include cigars that you cannot legally procure in the United States, I kind of have an issue with that as well. Not to mention that the cigars that they name in their top 25, they're not all cigars that were released in the last 12 months. Whatever that 12-month period is, I don't care where they put it. January to January, November to November, trade show to trade show. I don't give a shit. But when you've got a cigar that was released in 2017 as the fucking cigar of the year in 2023, like, that's a problem. When you have a cigar that was released in 2012 that was the cigar of the year in 2021, like, that's an issue. Like, to me, that's a problem. And the other problem that I have is in it, like, the proof is in the eating of the pudding, right? That's the phrase. And when you pick up a cigar of the year from a cigar aficionado, and I'm not going to name who it was. I think I've already outed it on a other podcast. But when you pick up a cigar of the year that was named cigar of the year, and every cigar out of that bundle, that box, whatever it is, smokes like shit, and there's construction issues and everything else on top of it. It's just none of them burned right, none of them tasted great. You kind of have to ask yourself, like, what are these guys doing? Like, how did they get the number one cigar with this? This is not like, it's a good cigar. It's okay, but it's not the best cigar I've smoked all year. And then you find out, you start to do some digging and you find out, oh, it's all paid for. Like, I don't subscribe to it's the gold standard. It may have once been the gold standard, but it's not. But
to that point, James, I mean, in what Randy said, it used to be that the Oscars were the only place that you could get like a top movie list of movies that were nominated for Oscars. And then you've got IMDb and you've got Rotten Tomatoes, that people pay more attention to Rotten Tomatoes as far as the score than they do for the Academy that's telling you what movies are good or bad. I mean, I think that Cigar Aficionado will always be that Academy.
Well, let me ask you, how many people on this call watch La La Land? Like, just a show of hands. Does anybody here watch La La Land? No.
That's what I was going to say. To Lou's point, it's been several years since I watched the Academy Awards and that, because the movie of the year and all that, some foreign thing that I've never seen and all this, but it is still the thing.
Yeah, I know, but I don't. I guess maybe it's just me. I don't understand where the hype comes from. It's just me. I prefer, actually, to be honest with you, how the Half Wheel does it, where they kind of aggregate everybody's top 10, top 5, top 25, whatever it is, and they put out a consensus, that consensus every year. Like, that's a lot of information that they dig through to kind of come up with okay, what's really number one? Like, let's take a look at what all of these sites are saying is number one, and number two, and number three, and number four, and let's see what gets the most votes. To me, that's a good way to do it. I mean, we talked to, Jose Blanco, Nick, and when I asked Jose about reviewers, he's like, you put 10 reviewers in a room. How many different reviews are you going to get? You're going to get 10 different reviews. You're going to get 10 different tasting notes. You're going to get 10 different points of view, 10 different thoughts on the cigar, right? Wait, can I hear Nick? Am I the only one that can't hear Nick? Tim?
Never mind, I had it on mute.
Oh, there you go.
I was going to say I was on mute too.
I was going to yell at Tim, Nick. You should just let me go.
No, I said it was my point exactly. 10 reviews, 10 different people. Everybody's different. But, if you know a particular reviewer's cigars, what his taste palette, what he particularly likes, and it happens to coincide with what you like, then, you should follow that person or another person. Or some people just like to hear themselves talk and have no idea what they're talking about,
I think there's a certain element of Cigar Aficionado that there's a prestige, because it's not just a cigar magazine anymore. It's a lifestyle magazine that you alluded to in other podcasts, where you're trying to impress somebody with something that you're smoking. And so there's this effort to smoke expensive cigars or rare cigars or cigars you can't get. And that doesn't impress me as a real cigar nerd. I'm a cigar geek. When it comes to, I want to know about what's good, what's different, what's nuanced, that has some type of element that's going to, I smoke a lot of cigars. And so I don't care that the cigar is $10, $2, or $30. If it's a great cigar and it's something I don't want to miss, I want to know from somebody who's a cigar enthusiast, and that's why, I pay more attention to what James and Tim and Nick and you guys are smoking than I do Marvin and the guys at Cigar Aficionado.
Well, I appreciate the vote of confidence, Lou, but I would probably not listen to anything I say at all. I mean, I have said before, I have a shit palate, and my experience is my experience, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be your experience. This is still a hand-rolled product, and it's going to vary from like that's why when I smoked that cigar of the year and it started falling apart, it wasn't until I got to like the 5th or 6th cigar in that box where I'm like, fuck, Like, why are they all doing this? How is this cigar of the year? Because you can have one or two, even three in a box that maybe they don't burn right, or it's not an even burn, or it starts to unravel. But when it's a consistent problem, that's where I go, okay, wait, there's an issue here, right? And so everyone's mileage is going to vary, and Nick's right. You try to find and Lou's right. You try to find those people that have a similar palate to yours, and you can kind of read the review, and even if you're not tasting what they're tasting, you can go, okay, I can understand where he's coming from, because I've done that. I remember when I first started this hobby, sitting down and opening up Half Wheel or Cigar Coop or somebody else and reading their review, Catman, and reading their review and going, okay, I don't get where they're coming from at all with this cigar. Or, oh, I can kind of see that. Okay, so this is caramel. Okay. Is it really caramel, or is it, just butter? What is it? Or as Randy would say, avocado oil. So you kind of do. And like, as a reviewer, Ryan, as a reviewer, when you're doing a review, when you're trying to convey tasting notes, do you sometimes embellish to keep the reader's attention, or are you very and I already know the answer to this because I read your reviews, or are you just very matter of fact, like, this is what I'm getting, this is how I'm interpreting these flavors? Or are you like, well, yeah, it's this, but that's close to this, so I could say this, and that makes it more exciting?
That's kind of hard. I think in the beginning I would embellish a little more, but as I've smoked more and just doing the reviews, I try to kind of get to the point. Really, what I'm tasting, I really try to hone in on a few flavors or a few notes that people really recognize. So usually, if I sit down with someone and I hand them a cigar, it's usually another dude that really likes smoking cigars, really likes trying to point out notes and stuff. And I try to hone in on the main flavors of a cigar. So I think, like, getting to the point and not doing so much embellishment in the notes, it helps a lot of people. Because there's so many different flavors out there. Like, I could have tried something that no one else has tried, and they'll have no idea what that is. I really don't know what note to, like, kind of pick out right at the moment. But it's I put less embellishment in my reviews now. But it's, if I do taste it, I try to record that.
Yeah.
Have you ever used dry refrigerator, or
Water?
empty cardboard box?
No, never used any of that. Just I don't. You might get a taste of that. I don't know what cardboard tastes like.
Empty cardboard box.
What? Nobody has licked wet cardboard before?
No, I have not. No, thank you though for asking.
I think it was like grade school wax milk carton container that I saw in one of his.
Some people have eaten that though, Lou. Like some.
Yeah,
people...
I guess. I don't. Nick,
yes,
I know you have to run here pretty quick. We're almost done, but I know you got to run. So let me ask you this, because you are a blender. I'm not going to say master blender because it makes you mad, but you are. Just know you are.
I will.
You're a blender. Thank you. Put it back on the ticker.
All right.
Thanks. As he's talking about it, when you're blending cigars, and because you're down there and you're smoking those the fumas, and you're really trying to figure, and you're blending it, right?
Right.
What are you tasting? Are you tasting very specific flavors where you pick out, oh, well, this is maple syrup, or this is fucking coffee, and this is wood, and this is what and you're blending to that, or are you just blending?
No,
how?
Not at all. Most people don't do it that way, as far as I know. You're looking for the types of reactions that's going to come out of your palate, because everybody reads it differently. You want to initiate that taste, that sensation in your mouth. If you're getting that sensation, in a certain area, when they do these flavor wheels and everybody's personal experiences of what they've eaten in their lifetime, where they've had it, that's where it applies. But you can try to standardize. Like we were talked on a past show about the courses that are out there, about trying to say, okay, this smell is going to remind you of this, and this smell. I'd go to about 8 different core, type of tastes, the ones that people would normally call like hay or earth, the tones. And then in those you see variations. I don't try to put a label on it because I'm not a reviewer. And even when I was enjoying my cigars just for myself, when I knew certain things were hitting my palate differently and the retro differently, I wasn't looking to try to categorize it or label it. I just knew it would be something that people were going to find interesting. And that's all I leave it. It's like it's like you throw paint up there while you're drawing something and you're like, oh, that looks interesting. I think people will like that. Or let me try this. Oh, this is interesting. I don't try to label it. And maybe some people do, but I think as long as you're getting the differences in there, the nuances, then you can see that because some can be much more blander. And that's where you're trying to get around and trying to get some more reaction out of the tobacco. And it's the synergistic effect of the types of tobacco that are being put together, is the synergy between certain things. And sometimes it's just the actual tobacco. If it's fermented the right way and you use just the right amount, that can work as well too. So it's like stirring the pot and you're trying to get something out of it that tastes good.
Do you take it personally when somebody reviews your cigar and they're like, I didn't like this?
Not at all.
Really?
At all. Yep.
I would take that very personally. I'd be like, fuck you, I blended that. Like, this is really good.
No, because if everybody says that, then I'd be like, okay, I did something wrong here. But when one person doesn't like it, look, you're never, ever, I can guarantee you that whatever is the best cigar in the world or the best rated cigar, there's going to be somebody that doesn't like it. Now, you happen to talk to that guy, you get some blowhards out there that think they know everything and they're just talking shit. It's the ones that have a personal vendetta or reason to say that. Those are the ones that I would be pissed off about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But generally not. If it's a real honest opinion, I don't take anything personally. I'd like to see why, what exactly he didn't like about it, because I could take that as a learning point to try to see, well, there's somebody else that I can to do something with. What the hell's going on here with my iPad?
Yeah, right. And I know I know you got to go. So I just, before you do, I want to say thank you for joining, Nick. And we hope
always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure.
Come back on and answer questions and talk about things going on in the industry. So if you got to go, you can go whenever. But
I
again,
do.
Thank
Let
you.
me go, guys.
I
Nice
appreciate it,
you.
Nick.
We'll
nice
see you
to
on
see
the
you.
next podcast.
All right. Take care, brother. All right.
Take
See you,
care.
Nick.
Bye bye.
Randy, you're a reviewer.
What?
And I use that term loosely.
Yeah,
You're a reviewer.
loosely.
Thank God.
How do you approach a review?
And so I started using
Slowly.
Yeah, I started using that pro palette thing, and I've started to, instead of trying to drill all the way down to Duke's mayonnaise, I've kept it at oil and whipped egg. You know what I mean? I try to paint a broader stroke.
Oil and whipped egg. If I ever read that in one of your reviews, I will immediately fire you.
Oil and whipped egg. Promise? Threatening is a good fucking time. No fucking threatening emails and bullshit. No guilt. But no, I've tried to use kind of like the pro palette thing and not even so much drill down as far, just more of a broad stroke, because black pepper and white pepper, I'm a fucking foodie. I don't know if I can tell the difference between black pepper and white pepper.
For me, it's more of it's just a milder pepper.
Okay, so it's still fucking pepper then. It's a mild pepper.
Yeah,
Don't try to church it up, Duarte. You know what I mean? There's a difference between milk chocolate and
dark
like
chocolate.
Cacao, a coconut nib. There's a difference there that can be drawn. But I've been trying to be more generalized with my flavors. That way the guy's not trying to be like, I don't know if this is brain tanned or chrome tanned leather I'm supposed to be tasting here, you know?
Right.
And what I think, and that's, you and I have had the discussion several times about your scoring and how I don't really like it all that much. Yeah, wet versus simply damp cardboard, you know? White/black mold, both bad, right? But yours is heavily weighted towards personal enjoyment.
No, personal enjoyment.
No,
is
it's
only half the
not.
point.
It's
It's
not
not?
because
No,
because
smoking
I
experience.
did
Let
a
me
lounge
look.
review of Smoldering Cigar,
Is that
and I
not?
gave it a high score, and James fucking ripped me apart, and he's
James
like,
is a
"Well,
dick.
okay, da 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 da," and then he wanted to have an argument about it, and he's like, "Argue your case," and I'm like, "I'm not Randy. I don't have to argue
I
my
did.
damn
I did.
case." Yeah,
Well, I
this
wanted.
happened.
Look, here's the
Well,
thing.
this motherfucker too
Oh, here we go.
says I can't rate it in time retraction time. Fucking Mr. Largesse, when you told Nick that you and I agreed on a 9.7, we absolutely did not, and the review says 9 fucking 9 at the bottom of it.
Yeah,
And the reason it does is because when you, as a big a piece of shit as you are, say it's my desert island cigar.
Wow.
If I could only smoke one cigar for the rest of my life, this would be it. But it's not a 9.9. Go fuck yourself then. Then, you know, here's a great example of that. My son's art teacher in high school, and she's a friend of the family, and I got to have this conversation with her. You can't get 100 in her class. You can only get a 97. And I'm like, well, that's the new 100. What the fuck? Right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So
yeah,
if it's literally the best thing you've ever smoked, if you could only smoke one cigar for the rest of your life, how is it not a fucking 10, let
Well,
alone a 9?
and again, I will say, because that excludes then later on finding a cigar that is better than the cigar that is currently your desert island cigar.
But that's
can
saying
have
that you
multiple
can't have 2
9.9s.
100s.
And you could have a 10.
I look, so if you go and you read that review at the bottom, there's an edit from the editor, which would have been me, and I think I said we had a large discussion over this, and it should be a 9.7, but I let him have the 9.9.
I'm looking for it right now.
Okay, it should be at the very bottom, if I remember correctly. So I will retract that. It is a 9.9. That is the official Simply Stogie scores a 9.9. I feel that it's closer to a 9.7 because I still feel, and I don't, you guys can all eat a dick. I told Nick Melillo you go back and listen to the podcast that just came out. I told him, I said, look, at the beginning of the cigar, there's not a lot there. There's not a lot going on. And it built.
I need a double retraction from you because the editor's note says, and I quote, I'm going to screenshot this so you can't edit it later. It says, editor's note, is this score too high? ? Maybe, but not by much. After much internal debate and me smoking one rot, you fucking hipster, which is right off the truck for anybody else that's not 12, we're rolling with this score. This is the ultimate celebratory cigar. It's elegant, refined, sophisticated, and demands your attention. Simply Stogies rating 9.9. You said we're rolling with the 9.9, motherfucker.
Roll with the 9.9. I still would
You
rate that at
can
9.7.
eat a bag of fat baby.
It is one of the best cigars I've ever had in my mouth at one time, at any time. So it's very good. And it is deserving of a very high score, but it's not.
Has anybody else had one though?
Yeah, I've had one. Randy's had one. Lou, have you had a Senator?
Oh, I've smoked several. I didn't buy a box. I didn't think it was. I mean, I didn't think it was box worthy when I had the opportunity, and I made a mistake and didn't buy a box. I have.
May or may not have been available.
Yeah, well, they went fast, and I'll tell you, some people, they went ahead and scooped them up. But I have 6 bundles of the Loma de Cedro, so I have that over you, Randy. Yeah, but I would definitely, one of the things about that cigar, there was so much hype about it and valid hype about it that they are going to be releasing, and I hope that they maintain their quality in future releases, which is pretty good.
Yeah. No, and they're out there. They're going out this month. Check your local B&M. They should be getting some more every year. It's going to be an annual release. 500 boxes, I think, is what he said. Every November. So check it out. Look for let's see. So let me thank our panel here, our supporters, which include Adam and Lou. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I really do appreciate it.
Hey, I'm a supporter.
Oh yeah, and our only lifetime.
Notice my name.
Yes, the
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
only lifetime
Only
member
lifetime.
of the LE Club, Randy.
Financially, it made sense. James was like, "Damn it!"
Yeah, he was like, "You could have kept getting $30 a month from me. Now it's not." Yeah. Yeah. So thank you. But Randy also writes for us. He's part of the staff. He does a lot for us. So thank you guys for joining. Ryan and Tim, thank you for coming as well. I really do appreciate it, Tim, for all your hard work in getting the live stream set up and the ticker, and all of those things that I just don't want to do, to be 100% honest with everybody. So I appreciate
I'll
you.
tell you this, boss. It ain't easy.
I like that you called me boss. I like that. You should just keep doing that.
It's not a term of endearment. I
know.
promise you.
No, yeah, no, I appreciate all of you. And all of you out there for supporting us by just watching us and sharing with your friends. Hey, this podcast isn't just completely terrible. You should listen to it. Go watch it on YouTube and Rumble. Go check out the website. I appreciate everyone who reads all of our reviews online, which is a lot of you. So thank you very much. Thank you for all of you that watch. But remember, if you want to support us financially, we would greatly appreciate it. It will definitely help keep the lights on, so to speak, quite literally. Help keep the lights on and help us get to events and bring you more coverage and more content. Coming up, we've got the Clear the Air next week on the 8th with myself and Tim and Nick, where we talk about Nicholas Melillo behind his back and put it out there for everyone to listen to, including Mr. Melillo. Coming up after that, which watch for social media, there's going to be some teaser stuff coming out soon on our Instagram and our Facebook. Simply Stogies Podcast on both of those platforms, where we sit down with John Lorendi and Adrian Marahaj from Peter James, and we have a great conversation with them. It's a very transparent and open conversation. I'm really looking forward to you all hearing that. So make sure you check that out. And then, of course, the week after that, we talk about John and Adrian behind their backs, and then put it out for everybody to listen to with Clear the Air. As Tim hosts that show. And then coming up in December, we actually have a programming note. Bradley Rubin was unable to make it to the shop in Nebraska this last Friday. He was under the weather, so there is no interview with Bradley Rubin coming up on December 1st. Instead, I'm going to keep it a secret as to who we've got coming up, but it's going to be one of a couple people, depending on how quickly we can get these interviews done and whatnot. And so look forward to that. Then, of course, ending this year, we've got Charlie Minato from halfwheel.com. Come on, I'm sure we're going to talk about reviews and the industry at large and the PCA and the FDA and everything else, because Charlie's a wealth of information and knowledge when it comes to all of those things, as he's been doing it at a high level for several years, not to make him sound old.
Between Dukes and real Hellman's mayonnaise.
He will probably be able to tell us the difference between that. Hopefully he'll be able to tell us the difference between copy paper, mayonnaise, and Thousand Island dressing all in the same sentence, because I am going to ask him about that. Like, how do you get those?
I believe I'm gonna start the over under. I've got $10 that he reveals that his reviews are pretty much like flat earthers. He's just fucking with everybody. See how far he can get away with it.
I hope not. It should be a great conversation with Charlie. The guy, like I said, the guy is he's a walking encyclopedia when it comes to the industry, how the industry works, the politics of everything in Washington and the cigar industry, as well as reviews and doing the reviews. So I'm really looking forward to that. But again, guys, if you want to support us, go to simplystogies.com, top right, LE Club. Join the LE Club. There are 3 different tiers, 4 if you count the lifetime membership, and it's minimum $100 a year, $10 a month, and you can jump on here and have a conversation with us and watch us live, hang out like Adam and Lou and even Randy did tonight, and you can ask your questions, especially if Nick's on. Like, that guy knows more. Like, he's forgotten more than I'll ever know about the cigar industry. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to Simply Stogies After Dark. I'm James. That's Tim, Ryan, Randy, Lou, and Adam. And for Nick, we will see you next time. Until then, stay smoky, friends.